Chapter 42. Young gentlemen discuss the examinations in a brothel, and a servant brings news from the Miao regions. As soon as the two prostitutes went in, Wang Yiyan called out to the man who was washing his hands, "Come here, sixth master. Look at these two new girls." The prostitutes looked up and saw a man with a dark, pockmarked face and shifty eyes, who was wearing a ragged cap, greasy black silk gown, and old boots with pointed toes. To wash his hands, he had rolled his sleeves right up, but he looked neither soldier nor scholar. As he walked out of the kitchen, the girls stepped forward. "Sixth master," they greeted him. Then, inclining their heads, swaying their hips, and lifting a corner of their jackets with one hand, they dropped him a curtsy. Sixth master grabbed them with both hands. "Fine," he cried, "you little darlings. What luck of you to meet me as soon as you get here." What sixth master says is right," agreed Wang. "No one can look after you so well, girls. Sit down, sir. Bring tea for sixth master." Sixth master sat down on a bench, pulling both girls with him, one on either side. He yanked up his trousers, laid a greasy black leg across Mrs. Heesau's knee, across Miss Heesey's knee, and made her stroke it with her soft white hand. After swilling his tea, he produced a package of betel nuts, stuffed them into his mouth, and started munching away. When the juice trickled out of his mustache and lips, he turned his head from left to right and from right to left, rubbing betel juice on the girls' cheeks. And when the girls took out handkerchiefs to wipe their cheeks, he grabbed their handkerchiefs to mop his armpits. Wang took his teacups from him and stood up to ask, "Have you heard recently from your uncle?" "I have. Some time ago he sent a man to make 20 huge red brocade flags embroidered with dragons in Nanking, and one big general's pennon of yellow brocade. He's going to the capital this month. In the 9th month, at the beginning of the frost, they will sacrifice to the flag. The emperor as commander-in-chief, and my uncle as his second-in-command. They'll stand side by side on the carpet to kowtow, and after kowtowing, my uncle will be a viceroy." As he was talking, the pimp called Wang Yiyan out and whispered something to him. Soon Wang came back. "I beg your pardon, sixth master," he said, "but a stranger has called to see Miss Heesey, and knowing you are here, he dares not come in." "What does it matter? Bring him in. I'll drink with him." Then Wang led in a young merchant. As soon as the customer had sat down, Wang asked him for a few cents of silver to buy a platter of donkey meat, another of fried fish, and a dozen measures of wine. Since sixth master was a Mohammedan, another 20 to 30 eggs were brought and boiled hard, and a lamp was lit. Sixth master sat in the seat of honor, the customer facing him. But when sixth master told Miss Heesey to sit on the customer's bench, she insisted skittishly on sitting with him. When the four of them had sat down, wine was served. Sixth master made them play the finger game, with the loser drinking and the winner singing. When he won, he sang in a husky voice. Then Miss Heesey and the customer played, and the prostitute won. Sixth master called for more wine to drink, while they listened to her singing. When she turned her face away with a laugh and refused, he rapped on the table with his chopsticks to urge her on. Still she just laughed and would not sing. "My face is a bamboo blind," sixth master warned her. "A blind lets up and down. I can pull a long face whenever I please. If I want you to sing, my girl, you'll sing." Wang Yiyan came in as well to help persuade her, and at last she sang a few lines. "The sergeant is here," said Wang when she had finished. In came the sergeant who patrolled the streets, but when he saw sixth master he had nothing to say. The prostitutes kowtowed to him. He sat down with them to drink, and another half-dozen measures of wine were ordered. At the 4th watch, Puppy from sixth master's uncle's house brought a lantern inscribed with the words, "The Brigade General's household." "I've come to see you home, sixth master," he said. Sixth master and Wang Yiyan walked out. The customer went inside and was asked for tips by the servant, who brought him water by the pimp. After much ado, the prostitute combed her hair and washed. So not till cock crow did she get to bed. First thing the next morning, Sixth Master came to announce that he wanted to give a farewell feast here for his uncle's 2 sons, who were leaving for Nanking. When Wang heard the Brigadier General's sons were coming, he could hardly contain himself for joy. "Are they coming right away or this evening?" he asked. Sixth Master pulled a packet of silver from his belt containing 56 cents, which he gave to Wang, ordering him to prepare 7 savory dishes and 2 sweet ones. If it's not enough, then come back to me for more." "I wouldn't think of it," said Wang. "I'll be more than satisfied if you'll choose these 2 girls for some other parties too. We can't let you pay for the feast, not when you're asking the Brigadier General's sons." "That's the spirit. Now you're talking sense," declared Sixth Master. "If your girls are lucky enough to hit it off with these 2 young gentlemen, their fortunes are made. My uncle's house is crammed with gold, silver, pearls, and jewels. If you find a way to the young men's hearts, they'll be shelling out silver in handfuls. Even your pimp and scullion will have their share." Fourth Lee, who was standing by, went into raptures. After giving his orders, Sixth Master left, and the others worked with a will to prepare the feast. In the afternoon, Sixth Master arrived with his 2 cousins, who were wearing silk caps and black shoes with white soles. One had a red gown embroidered with gold, the other a pale grey gown embroidered with gold. Though it was broad daylight, the 4 servants with them were carrying lanterns bearing the inscriptions, "The Brigadier General's Household, the Successful Nanking Candidate." The 2 young men came in and sat in the seats of honor. The prostitutes kowtowed to them while Sixth Master stood at one side. "Here's a bench, Sixth Brother," said Tang Yu, the elder of the 2. "Why don't you sit down?" Yes, I was just going to ask you. Shall we let these girls sit down?" "Why not?" demanded Tang Shi, the younger brother. "Sit down." Gingerly and coyly, giggling behind their handkerchiefs, the 2 prostitutes sat on a bench. "How old are these girls?" asked Tang Yu. One is 17, said Sixth Master. The other 19. Wang Yi An brought in tea. The prostitutes took the cups, wiped the water from them with their handkerchiefs, then offered them to Tang Yu and Tang Shi. The brothers took the tea and drank. "When will you young gentlemen be setting out?" asked Sixth Master. "Tomorrow," replied Tang Yu. "The chief examiner has already gone to Nanking, so we mustn't delay any longer." While Sixth Master was talking to his brother, Tang Shi pulled Miss He Si to his bench and cuddled her. Presently wine was brought in. They had hired a Mohammedan cook and served Mohammedan dishes: bird's nest, duck, chicken, and fish. Sixth Master poured out the wine himself and made his cousins take the seats of honor. He himself sat at the lower end of the table, and the 2 prostitutes on one on each side. One dish was brought in after another. Sixth Master sat there awkwardly, drinking. "Will you go straight to the examination hall when you reach Nanking?" he asked. At the 5th watch, on the 8th day, they start by calling the roll of candidates from Taiping Prefecture. Won't it be late by the time they get round to our Yangzhou candidates? "Who says they call the roll for Taiping Prefecture?" retorted Tang Yu. "First they fire 3 salvos in front of the hall and open the palisade. Then they fire another 3 salvos and open the main gate. Then they fire another 3 salvos and open the dragon gate. There are 9 salvos altogether." "Those guns aren't as big as the one at our father's headquarters," put in Tang Shi. "A little smaller, not much," rejoined his brother. "When the guns have been fired, an incense table is set out in the Hall of Supreme Justice, and the mayor of Nanking in sacrificial headdress and serpent-embroidered robe bows, stands up and hides his face behind 2 umbrellas. The Secretary of the Finance Commissioner's office kneels to invite the God of War to the hall to keep order, and the God of War's bodyguard to make an inspection. The umbrellas are parted and the mayor bows. Next, the Finance Commissioner's secretary kneels to invite the God of Literature to preside over the hall, and his bodyguard, the star of successful candidates, to come to the hall and shed light." Sixth Master shot out his tongue in dismay. "What? You invited all those gods and Buddhas? One can see what a big event it is." "How brave you gentlemen are to go into a place with all those Buddhas," said Miss Shun. "We'd sooner die than go." "These gentlemen are stars in heaven," replied Sixth Master gravely. They can't be compared to girls like you. After inviting the god of literature, continued Tang Yu, the mayor bows again 3 times to heaven, and the secretary invites all successful ancestors. What do you mean by successful ancestors? Asked Sixth Master. Successful ancestors are those who have passed the metropolitan examination and held office, replied Tang Shi. They're the only ones invited. What would be the use of asking common people or those scholars who grow old taking the district examinations? There's a red flag at the door of each cell with a black flag beneath it, said Tang Yu. Under the red flag squat the spirits of those the candidate has helped. Under the black flag, the spirits of those he has wronged. Now the mayor takes his seat. The secretary calls out, "Enter the ghosts of all those helped or wronged." Paper coins are burnt on each side, and with a sudden gust of wind, whoosh, in tumble the spirits and fly with the burnt paper to under the red and black flags. Amitabha Buddha, it shows you've got to be good, cried Miss Shun. At a time like that, men appear in their true colors. Your worthy father must have had no end of grateful ghosts, said Sixth Master. Look at all the good deeds he has done at the frontier and the number of lives he has saved. There won't be room for them all under one red flag. It's lucky you aren't taking the examination, Sixth Brother, said Tang Yu. If you showed your face there, the ghosts of those you've wronged would carry you off. What do you mean? Look at my friend Yin of Yi Sung at the last examination. He's a learned scholar. He had finished 7 essays and was reading them at the top of his voice when a sudden drought set the flame of his candle guttering. The curtain was drawn aside and a head thrust in. Yin looked hard and saw that it was a prostitute he had known. You're dead, said Yin. What are you doing here? The prostitute looked at him and laughed. Yin lost his head and banged his fist on the desk, upsetting the inkstone so that the ink poured over his papers, making great black blotches. Then the prostitute disappeared. This must be fatal, sighed Yin. It was pouring with rain, poor man, as he handed in his papers and left through the downpour. He was laid up for 3 days with a cold, and when I went to see him, he told me what had happened. You must have abused her, I said. That's why she came to find you. How many people have you abused, Sixth Brother? Are you fit to enter the examination hall? The prostitutes clapped their hands and laughed. We're the people the Sixth Master likes to abuse, they said. If he goes to the examination hall, we'll be the spirits of those he had wronged. After eating for some time, Sixth Master sang a catch in his husky voice, and the Tang brothers sang as well, beating time on their knees. That the girls sang goes without saying. They made merry till midnight, when the brothers left with their lanterns. The next day they boarded a junk for Nanking, and Sixth Master saw them to the boat. Then the brothers spoke of the excitement that had attended entering the examination hall. What question do you think will be set this year? Asked the younger. My guess is it's bound to be something connected with our father's suppression of the Miao tribesmen in Kui Chau last year. That would be set in Kui Chau. Well, then, it must be either the search for worthy scholars or exemption from taxes, one or the other. There's nothing else it could be. So they chatted all the way to Nanking. Their steward, Whiskers Yu, met them there, and had their baggage carried to lodgings in Fishing Lane. Upon entering, the brothers skirted a 2-story building and went in by a side door to 3 neat rooms overlooking the river. Sitting down, they saw a row of houses on the opposite bank, with scarlet balustrades, green lattice windows, and speckled bamboo blinds. Successful district graduates from all parts of the province were lodging there, and could be heard intoning essays. The brothers had no sooner sat down than they ordered Whiskers Yu to buy them 2 new square caps, as well as baskets, bronze receptacles, awnings, door curtains, stoves, candlesticks, candle scissors, and bags for their papers, 2 of each. Then they hurried to Vulture Peak Temple to hand in their names. They also prepared food for the session: mooncakes, honeyed orange cakes, lotus seeds, dragon eyes, ginseng, popped rice, pickled cucumber, ginger, and salted duck. Take some of that asafoetida, I don't know that word, asafoetida, from Kwei Chow, said the elder brother, advising the younger. You'll need it to calm down your nerves if you write a word wrong. It took them a whole day to settle matters to their satisfaction, and they checked everything themselves, remarking, "We can't afford to take chances when our whole careers are at stake." On the morning of the 8th, they gave their old square caps to 2 servants, so that these could attend them to the examination hall. The road from Huiqing Bridge onward was lined with stalls set up by poor scholars for the sale of gay editions of essays compiled by Hisao Chin Hisun, Chuko Tiancheng, Qi Tianyi, Huang Chaojin, Muchun Shang, or Chu Hisianfu. Their turn did not come till late in the evening, after the roll of all the scholars from Yiqing had been called. The servants could go no further than the first gate. Now the 2 brothers had to take their own baskets and shoulder their own bedding. Bonfires on either side lit up the sky as they sat on the ground to unfasten their coats and take off their shoes. From within they could hear someone shouting, "A thorough search must be made." They went in with the other candidates, took their papers at the second gate, then passed through the dragon gate and went to their cells. On the 10th they emerged, exhausted, to eat a duck apiece and sleep for the whole day. The 3 sessions were over. On the 16th they bade a servant take a card from the Brigade General's Yamen to requisition a company of players to thank the gods. Presently the attendant arrived. He was a Mohammedan and had a cook who could prepare feasts, so there was no need to engage another. The players sent over their property chest. After it came a man carrying a dozen lanterns inscribed with the words, 3 Founts Company. Behind him followed a man with a servant boy holding a visiting card case. Upon reaching the gate, they told their business to the steward, who took in their card, and Tang Yu read, "Your servant, Pao Ting Hisi, presents 2 candles in 1 opera company with his compliments." Realizing that Pao was a company manager, Tang Yu ordered him to be admitted. "I am in charge of a small company here," said Ting Hisi, after greeting the young gentleman. "We perform only for scholars and officials. Having heard yesterday that you wanted operas, I have come today to place myself at your service." Because Pao Ting Hisi seemed a sensible fellow, Tang Yu kept him to a meal. Presently the players arrived, and in the hall overlooking the river they offered paper horses to the god of literature and the god of war, after which the 2 brothers kowtowed and sacrificed. Then they sat down at a table with Ting Hisi. Gongs and drums sounded, and 4 short pieces were played before the soup was served. By this time it was dark, but a dozen horn lanterns lit up the whole hall brightly. At midnight the main opera was finished. "These boys of mine are quite good at acrobatics," said Ting Hisi. "I'll tell them to put on a horse show to sober you gentlemen up." Then, dressed in ermine cloaks, pheasant feathers, and the brightest costumes, the players raced in, leaping, somersaulting, and forming figures. The brothers looked on with delight. "If you have no objection, gentlemen," said Ting Hisi, "I'll choose 2 of these boys to stay behind and wait on you." "What do youngsters like this know about waiting on gentlemen?" said Tang Yu. "You must find us somewhere amusing." "That's easy, sir. Just across the river is Ko Lai Kuan's house. He counts as my pupil too, and his name was on the list that year when the 17th Mr. Tu of the Tiancheng family held the great contest here in the lake, and all the actors were tested and marked. If you go to Waterstocking Lane tomorrow, sir, you'll see the signboard of Surgeon Chow, and across the street, behind a black fence, is Ko's house." "Does he have women's apartments?" asked Tang Shi. "If so, I'll go with you." There's the famous 12 pavilions," replied Ting Si. "Why not go there, sir, instead of to Ko's house? I'll take you along." By now the show had ended, and Pao Ting Hisi took his leave. The next day, the elder brother prepared 8 pewter jugs from Kui Chow, 2 bottles of goat's blood, 4 rolls of miao embroidery, and 6 baskets of choice tea. He bade his man carry these to Ko Lai Kuan's house. They knocked at the door and were admitted by a woman with big feet. The front building consisted of 2 rooms which had been partitioned into 3. A passage from the door on the left led to rooms overlooking the river at the back. There, Ko Lai Kuan, in a lined gauze jade-colored gown, with a fan of wild goose feathers in his slender tapering fingers, was leaning over the balcony enjoying the breeze. When the 2 brothers came in, he asked them to be seated. "Where are you gentlemen from?" he inquired. "Yesterday Mr. Pao told me you had a fine view of the river from your house," said Tang Yu, "so I came today to call on you. I have brought a few poor presents, which I hope you will accept." The servant carried in the gifts, and when Lai Kuan saw them, he was very happy. "How can I accept these, sir?" he asked. He turned to the woman with big feet. "Take these inside," he ordered, "and tell the mistress to serve a meal." "I am a Muhammadan," said Tang Yu. "We don't eat meat. We have some freshly brought, big Yangchow crabs. Would you care for them, sir?" "They are from my hometown. There is nothing I like better. Our uncle once sent a letter home from Kaoyao saying how he missed crabs, but he couldn't get a single one there. Is your worthy father a servant of the state?" "My father is a military governor in Kui Chow. I came back to take the examination." As they spoke, wine was served. The river was wreathed in mist, and households on both banks had lit lamps while boats glided past unceasingly. When Ko Lai Kuan had drunk a few cups, his face turned rosy, and in the flickering candlelight he raised his tapering, jade-like fingers to urge Tang Yu to drink. I have had enough wine," said Tang Yu. "I should like some tea." Lai Kuan told the maid to clear away the crab shells and fruit dishes, wipe the table, fetch a stoneware pot, and brew some fragrant tea. They were just enjoying themselves when they heard a commotion outside. Lai Kuan went to the gate and found a pot-bellied Surgeon Chow there, red in the face from scolding the big-footed maid for throwing crab shells over his doorstep. As the actor stepped forward to put in a word, the surgeon rounded on him. Your house is full of amphibians," he shouted. "Why not empty crab shells on your own doorstep instead of unloading them on us? Are you all arse, no eyes?" The Tang family steward prevented a brawl by persuading Lai Kuan to go back inside. He had no sooner sat down, however, when a flustered Whiskers Yu dashed in. "I have been looking for you everywhere, sir," he cried. So you were here all the time. Why are you so hot and bothered?" The second master went with that Pao to somebody's house to have tea by Vulture's Peak Temple in East Flower Park, but some ruffians there set on him and tore off his clothes. Pao was so scared he took to his heels. Now the second master is shut up in that house and can't get out. He's frantic. A flower seller next door called Miss Yao, who also says she is the girl's aunt, has barred the door and won't let him go. The elder brother hastily bade him fetch lanterns from their lodgings to light the way to Vulture Peak Temple. "We've had no sport like this for a long, long time," the ruffians there were saying. We mustn't let slip this chance for easy money." Tang Yu boldly elbowed his way through them, pushed Miss Yao aside, and with one blow knocked down the door. When his brother saw who had come, he rushed forward and darted out. The rogues outside would have stopped him, but Tang Yu's martial air and the brigade general's lanterns frightened them off, and they scattered. The brothers returned to their lodgings. Over 20 days later, when ink and paste were taken into the examination hall to write the blue announcement of those who had failed, they knew the results would soon be out. 2 days later, the lists were published. Neither of them had passed. They sat sulking in their rooms for 7 or 8 days. They collected the rejected papers, 3 for Tang Yu and 3 for Tang Shi. Not a single paper had been read to the end. They fell to inveighing against the stupidity of examiners. As they were cursing away, a family servant arrived from Kui Chow with a letter from their family, which they read together. But to know what followed, you must read the next chapter.